Okay, so picture this a place where the streets are practically buzzing, not with cars, but with scooters. Like everywhere you look, it's scooters, scooters, scooters. Like we're
Scooters.
talking Taiwan today,
Right.
where these things aren't just a way to get around.
It's like part of their DNA or something, right?
Totally, and we're going to deep dive into why that is.
I'm excited.
Me too, especially because we've got some wild stories and families piled onto one scooter, people riding on sidewalks.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget those traffic light gatherings.
The scooter army.
Exactly. Like, are there even rules there? That's what I want to know.
We'll get to all that, but first, let's talk numbers, right? Over 14 million scooters in a country with, like, the same population as Australia.
It's mind-boggling.
So what makes these things so popular?
Well, think about it. In a city like Taipei, finding a parking spot for a car is like winning the lottery. But a scooter, you can practically park it in your living room.
Okay, true. Plus, I bet they cost way less than a car.
Absolutely, way cheaper. Plus, they're like little ninjas in traffic. Zipping through those tiny streets, taking shortcuts cars can only dream of.
So time savers, basically.
Totally. And don't forget the weather. Taiwan's climate is perfect for scootering all year round.
No snow days for scooters.
Right. It's scooter paradise, honestly.
It's wild to think that something so practical can become like this cultural symbol.
Yeah.
Our sources even mentioned families piled onto a single scooter.
Oh, yeah. Dad driving, mom holding a baby, and a kid or two crammed in there somewhere.
Like, where else in the world do you see that?
Exactly. It says a lot about their family-centric culture.
Right. It's like this shared experience.
Exactly. Sharing is caring.
Okay, but let's be real. This scooter love has a wild side, too.
Oh, yeah, totally.
We got to talk about the scooter army at traffic lights.
Like, imagine you're just standing there at a red light, and suddenly it's like a swarm descends.
And they're all just waiting. Engines revving.
It's controlled chaos, man.
Organized chaos, right? It's like they have this unspoken language of the road.
Definitely. And then there's the whole sidewalk riding thing. It's technically illegal, but...
But everyone does it.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder about the whole rules versus reality thing there.
Totally. And speaking of rules versus reality, one source mentioned this funny thing. Helmets are mandatory.
Right.
But then you'll see someone riding with flip-flops and a cat perched on the handlebars.
Aha. Yeah, like, which rule are we following today?
It's like the rules are more like suggestions.
Maybe they are.
This is all painting quite the picture, don't you think?
Oh, for sure.
Practical, a touch of chaos, rules are optional. But hold on, we haven't even talked about the left turn box.
Ah, yes. The infamous left turn box.
The traffic rule you literally won't see anywhere else.
Unique to Taiwan.
And it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah, we'll unpack that little gem after the break. It's a good one. So we're back, diving deeper into the world of Taiwan's scooter culture.
Where we left off talking about that unique left turn box.
It's pretty wild, right? Like, scooters have their own little traffic dance move.
Totally. And it really shows how they've, like, redesigned their roads for scooters instead of cars.
Exactly, putting scooters first, which you don't see very often.
So, okay, I gotta ask. For someone who's never been to Taiwan, what's it like to actually be in the middle of all these scooters?
You know, it's definitely sensory overload at first. Like, so many scooters zipping around you, engines buzzing. It can be a little overwhelming.
I can imagine.
But here's the thing. There is a method to the madness.
You keep saying that organized chaos. What does that even mean?
Imagine a school of fish, right?
Like-
All moving together, even though it looks kind of random. That's what it's like. The scooter riders, they're so good at reading each other, anticipating moves.
So it's less about following the rules and more about, like, intuition.
Exactly. It's like they have this shared language of the road that they've developed over time.
But even with that, doesn't it get dangerous with so many scooters on the road?
You'd think so, right? But surprisingly, Taiwan has a pretty good safety record considering.
Really?
Yeah.
What helps with that?
Well, helmets are mandatory for riders and passengers. And most people actually do wear them, even if the enforcement isn't always super strict.
Right.
They also have tough laws against drunk driving and speeding on scooters.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, yeah, while the number of accidents might seem high, if you adjust for how many scooters there are, it's not that bad.
So it's not as crazy as it seems.
Not really. I mean, as long as you're paying attention, being predictable, and, understanding that shared language of the road, it's fine.
All right, so say someone's listening to this and they're thinking, I want to try riding a scooter in Taiwan. Any advice?
First things first, learn the traffic laws. Even if people aren't always following them to the letter, it's good to know what they are. And practice somewhere safe before you hit the streets of Taipei.
Right. Don't just jump into the deep end, literally.
Exactly. Start slow, get a feel for the scooter, and then you can, like, graduate to the scooter army at a traffic light.
That's the goal. Right. But, it's more than just riding. It sounds like it's really a whole experience.
Oh, absolutely. You're out in the open, feeling the wind, smelling the food stalls.
Like being part of the city, not just passing through it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a bit of an adrenaline rush, too. I'm not going to lie.
Sounds like it. But beyond the thrill, there's something deeper to it, right? Like it reflects something about Taiwan itself.
You hit the nail on the head. There's a real sense of community, of making things work, of adapting to challenges that's tied to scooter culture.
So it's not just about scooters. It's about how people live and interact.
It's like a microcosm of Taiwan itself.
Hmm.
Resourceful, resilient, and always finding a way.
It's amazing that something that seems so chaotic can actually be so orderly.
Right. It's a totally different way of thinking about transportation and urban life.
Makes you wonder if other places could learn from Taiwan. Like, could we create cities that are more scooter-friendly, more efficient?
Totally. It challenges that whole car-centric mindset we have.
So we've talked practicality, we've talked organized chaos, the unique rules, the safety stuff.
Yeah.
But what about the people themselves?
Right, because for a lot of Taiwanese people, the scooter isn't just a vehicle. It's part of who they are, like an extension of themselves.
Like, it's not just transport, it's a way of life.
Exactly. It's how they connect with their community, how they experience their city.
It's amazing how something as simple as a scooter can have such a big impact.
It really is. But we're not done yet. There's a whole other side to this scooter obsession, a side that's full of, let's say, interesting quirks.
Quirks, do tell.
We'll get into all that after a quick break.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we're wrapping up this look at Taiwan's scooter culture. We've gone over a lot, the whys, the chaos,
First turn box.
left turn box, but there's one more piece to this puzzle. It's the people themselves.
Totally. Scooters are like woven into their lives in a way that goes beyond just transportation.
Our sources talked about families, like whole families piled onto one scooter.
Oh yeah, the classic scene. Dad's driving, mom's holding a baby.
A couple of kids wedged in there too. I mean, you wouldn't see that just anywhere.
No. Shows how important family is. And it's not just families either.
Oh, right. They mentioned friends sharing rides, coworkers.
Even strangers helping each other out when a scooter acts up. Like, there's a sense of community on the road.
So it's like more than just a commute. It's social.
Yeah, like a scooter club, but everyone's in it. And they have this, like, unspoken understanding of each other.
And the rules, or lack thereof.
Exactly. But it's not all serious business either. Our sources mention some pretty creative uses for scooters. Like people hauling all kinds of stuff, groceries, furniture. I even read about someone transporting livestock on a scooter.
Wait, livestock? Like a goat or something?
I'm not kidding. It shows how resourceful they are. Like the scooter is their Swiss Army knife.
It becomes an extension of themselves, basically.
Exactly. And people customize them too. Stickers, good luck charms.
I bet there's some wild paint jobs out there.
Oh, for sure. It's a way to express themselves. Make it their own.
So it's not just about practicality. There's style involved, too.
Definitely. Gotta have the right helmet, the jacket. It's like scooter fashion.
Scooter chic. All right, so for someone who's never experienced Taiwan's scooter culture, what's the takeaway here?
It makes you think about how transport can be more than just getting from A to B. It can be about values, creativity, community.
Whole different rhythm of life.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes you wonder, could we do things differently in other places? Could our cities be more like Taiwan in a way?
Yeah. More efficient, more connected, more fun, even. Something to consider. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the world of Taiwanese scooter culture.
A fascinating world it is.
It really is. For our listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Would you ride a scooter in Taiwan? What surprised you the most about what we talked about?
This deep dive was about more than just Taiwan, though. It was about opening our minds to different ways of living and seeing how something as simple as a scooter can shape a whole culture.
Totally. Thanks for joining us on this journey, everyone. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and maybe, just maybe, keep an eye out for those scooter armies.